Hi friends and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hello. My name's George Agenbar and I'm a UK music producer. In today's video we're going to be talking about binaural panning, a really interesting technique that can be used so creatively. So if this is something you want to learn a bit more about, then make sure to stay tuned and hit the subscribe button and notification bell for new videos every Wednesday. And things will never be the same when I hear your name since you kissed me in the rain. Binaural relates to both ears. So human hearing is binaural, as we hear through two ears. The aim of binaural sound is to be able to create and emulate a 3D soundscape, so that the music you're hearing sounds as though it's being played live, and this is normally best heard and experienced through headphones. Binaural panning is when we emulate human hearing in our music. We can pan sounds left or right, front or behind, above or below the listener. This has to be done through a stereo output, but can be used really effectively. So, as I mentioned before, our hearing is binaural. We hear through both ears. And if you think about it, effectively our ears are two separate microphones plugged directly into our brain. And our brain can determine exactly where sound is coming from. And it does this by analysing the difference in sounds coming from each ear. And it does this pretty accurately. And this is the reason that we can analyse sounds and make them sound like they're coming from different directions when using binaural panning. So we have normal panning, which allows us to place sounds to the left and to the right, and we have binaural panning, which allows us to place sounds in all directions. But what are the advantages of binaural panning? When and why do we use it? Well, lots of the time in our mixes, we can feel as though elements are overcrowding each other. They're all in one space. And with normal panning, we can separate these elements by either putting them to the left or the right or anywhere in between. But with binaural panning, there are so many more options. We can place sounds pretty much anywhere we like, and that gives us a lot more options for creating a lot more space in our mixes. Binaural panning also creates a much more immersive experience for listeners. If you think about it, instead of feeling like the mix is being played in front of you, like perhaps you would with normal panning, with binaural panning you feel like the listener is actually inside the mix, creating a much better experience. Let's have a look at how to use it now. The easiest way to do this in Logic is to right-click on the pan dial in the Inspector menu and change it from pan to binaural pan. You'll then see the dial turn to this spiderweb type thing. You then double-click the dial and it brings up this menu. So it does look a little bit daunting, but let's go through it bit by bit. The first three words at the top, angle, elevation and distance, don't actually do anything. We can't change them. But the values of them change as you move this little circle. So we have this circular plane and a little dot that we can move it around. These are called the panning plane and the puck, and basically help you position where the sound is coming from. The closer you get to the centre of the panning plane, the closer to you the sound appears to be. The best way to picture this plane is to imagine a disc that is centred around the listener, like the listener is sitting in the middle of it. Then you seem to have a smaller version of the same panning plane below. This helps set the height of the sound. As with binaural panning, you also have heights and the angle of approach to your sound, which you change by clicking and dragging or changing the parameters below. There is a distance setting too, where you can control how far away the sound seems to be by changing the size. You want to be careful with this parameter, as the closer to you a sound is, the louder it seems to appear. So you may have to control these levels using simple automation. The Doppler button is the genius one. It is automatically turned off, but when it is turned on and you have automated the binaural panning so that the sound moves when the music plays, there will be a slight pitch change as the sound source is moving. The faster the sound moves, the more obvious the pitch change. A sound approaching the listener will appear to sound a bit sharper in pitch, and a sound travelling away from the listener will appear to sound a bit flatter. There is also an option to change the mode of binaural panning. This is from planar to spherical. So instead of imagining the panning plane to be a disc centred around the listener, imagine it to be a sphere over them. The distance parameter now adjusts the diameter of the sphere instead of how far away the sound is. Instead of the sound moving through the listener like it would with the planar panning, with spherical panning, it sounds like the sound is moving up and over your head. In spherical mode, you don't need to worry about any level changes, as the sound is maintaining a constant distance from the listener. Both planar and spherical sound slightly different and are slightly different techniques. So, simply put, that's binaural panning. My best advice would be to have a play around with it, see what you like and what you don't like, what difference the parameters make, and really get used to them. It can take a while, so don't worry, but do make sure that you do it whilst wearing headphones. I'd also advise that you don't binaurally pan every single element in your mix, as this can just get too confusing and overwhelming. Instead, just binaurally pan those few elements that you really want to pop out and grab your attention. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful and interesting. Let me know what you thought in the comments below and if there are any other videos you'd like to see in the future. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and I will see you again soon.